Welcome to the Daily Whatever. I am Lawrence Winterman.
I am
Oh,
Dana Dubois.
cheers.
Twinning.
Twinnies. I mean, are we repping merch or what?
Yeah, I'm almost uncomfortable with how matchy we are. I'm kind of loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's all your favorite color, so you should be
it
loving it.
is. It
Look
is.
at
I
the
feel like
people joining us. We've got so many great people already joining in the chat, including our guest today, Ariel Meadow Stallings. Yay!
I am so excited to talk to Ariel today. And you know who that is, right? You know what's happening, Lawrence.
Kira has heard my voice and is demanding her tribute, her treats.
Yeah, I'm going to call her Winterman's dog instead of Pavlov's dog because she just knows.
Aw. Well,
I know.
she hears these resonant, mellifluous tones, and
Exactly. How can she resist? Um, Lawrence, it's a new week. We both spent a lot of time working on. Oh my gosh! Look at all these folks. Good morning, everybody.
morning, everyone.
Um, so many exciting things to announce about.
Indeed.
I'm adjusting. I'm still like getting all adjusted here. I'm waiting for us to show so I can join the live.
I am super excited to talk to Ariel today. We've got a great lineup for the entire
Yes.
week.
Yes.
I think people are going to go crazy for Thursday when we are
Oh my
doing
God.
Freaky Thursday, and
Yeah.
we are swapping identities for the show to celebrate 80. We got 80 paid subscribers. We're at 82 right now. And to celebrate, we promised we would do a Freaky Friday, but Friday is fucked up Friday, so we're doing it on Thursday, so it's Freaky Thursday. Yada
Blah,
yada yada.
blah, blah. It's the best we can do. Freaky Thursday. Thursdays are better anyways. Like, who wants to go out on Friday or Saturday?
Yeah.
Thursday is the
I'm just
party.
saying uh I've got the goods. I've got a wig, I've got some cute cat's eye glasses.
I have seen photographic evidence and I'm excited. I also have a plan.
Oh my god.
He-
Karen just said she's coming as Kira the dog. That is brilliant, Karen.
I think Karen is kidding. I'm not sure. But what's important to note is that Karen Marie Sheldon, who has never, ever, ever missed an episode of our show, which is amazing. We should count before Thursday how many shows that is. Pretty simple math. We haven't been doing this for that long. She is going to interview Lawrence and Dana that hour. So we can't wait. Thursday is going to be amazing. But we have a whole week of fabulous guests and themes. Let's see if I can do them all from memory at this hour. We've got Ariel Meadow Stallings joining us in just a couple of minutes.
Yay!
Yay! That is going to be incredible. Hold on one second here.
Well,
Okay.
tomorrow I can
The
tell
chat.
you Nick
Yes.
Caro and Jacob Summers are joining me. Uh, uh, so you're gonna step away after the first couple minutes of the show, and
I am.
the
I
three of
don't
us are
fit
gonna
in on
talk
this theme
about
at all. I
male sexuality.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I absolutely cannot wait. And then Wednesday, we have got Melissa Corrigan joining us. She did a series last week, literally 5 brilliant stories in 5 days. I don't know how she does that. All about Christian nationalism and the threat that it poses to our democracy. So that one's gonna be a very lightweight day, really, just kind of a barrel of laughs, though I'm sure we will have some laughs because it's Melissa and we adore her. Thursday, as you mentioned, Freaky Thursday.
Thursday.
We're switching roles. And then for Fucked Up Friday, we have Samantha Page joining us, a new to us guest, someone whose content I have super enjoyed and am really excited, especially because when I asked her, she was like, I have no filter. And I was like, good. Come on the show. Fucked Up Friday is your day. And then Saturday, Stephanie Drury, content creator long known to me. I know her in real life. She's a Seattleite, famous for stuff Christian culture likes and for being the one to kind of try to take down Mark Driscoll and the Mars Hill Church here in Seattle back in the day. Successfully, I might add. The church is no longer here, though he's making mischief elsewhere because, like a whack-a-mole. But we're coming to talk about growing up evangelical and the harm it does. It's very timely now in the era, now that, focus on the Family Guy. Help me out here, Lawrence. Just died. James Dobson? James
Dobson.
Dobson. Okay.
Yeah.
When you're like, I think I have it, but maybe I'm naming something totally wrong. Because there's nothing like two agnostic Jews talking about evangelicalism. I think it's going to be a great episode. So excited about all of this. But for today, I think it's time to invite Ariel on.
It
Oh,
is
you've got the
time.
buttons
I've
today.
got it all keyed up and ready to go. Ariel, here we go. The invite is coming.
I'm so excited. Drum roll, please. Y'all, Ariel is not really on Substack. We kind of dragged her into the Substack app and world so that she could join this live. But if it takes a minute, she's figuring out some new software, which is going to be an interesting question, I think, of why not Substack, since so many of us migrated from Medium to Substack. I'm not seeing the invite.
All right, I will re-invite Ariel. You got two accounts on Substack. Let me just make sure that I'm all right. I'm sending it to at Ariel Meadow, which is the one that I think you're logged into now. At Ariel Meadow, yes, invite. All right, it should have just popped up and said, Lawrence Winterman is inviting you to a live or something.
Let's see if that goes. Oh, Musings on Interesting Times got his free Republic of Cascadia shirt. I love
I
that.
know. I'm so excited about that.
I
Ah, weeping. All right, I'm gonna try the other Ariel Meadow. Ariel, just because it's
Yeah,
your
she is
picture as
logged
well.
in as just Ariel at Ariel Meadow. It looks like.
Yeah, that's the one that I'm inviting. Um, there's also an Ariel Stallings. I'm gonna try that one, Ariel, just in case.
When I click through,
I know it shows that she's logged in as Ariel Meadow.
yeah. Try the other one. It shouldn't be that, but
Yeah, I'm trying. So Ariel, I just sent an invite to the other one. Uh, well, okay. So if you're on a live and somebody is inviting you, you get a like white pop up at the bottom with a big orange button that says you've been invited. Um, so, but Ariel, I think you're on Android and not iPhone, and so I'm not 100% sure of what the user experience is like there.
yeah, Robin is saying if it doesn't work, maybe Ariel can leave the live and then you can send the invite. And then in your notifications, Ariel, you should see Lawrence Winterman has invited you to join. I hope. Do we have any Android users in the live who can help us out? Yeah, KB is saying maybe have her deactivate one. They may be challengingly each other.
Huh. I'm not sure that would happen. Ariel, I think Robin's advice is wise. So leave the chat, leave us momentarily, and then I will re-invite you, and then you in the notification section of Substack, the little bell, click on that, and your top notification should be in just a moment that I've invited you to a live, and then click on that. So, 1, 2, 3, leave, and then I'll re-invite.
All fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
This is a new technical challenge for us. Look at us, Gen X multi hyphenates looking
Right.
to
Diagnose on the fly.
exactly. We will figure it out. And while we do, Lawrence, I also want to mention that never mind. Not important
There she
because there's
is.
Ariel.
Or
As I live and breathe, it's Ariel Meadow Stallings.
I'm sorry, friends. It was giving me grief, and I just had to exit out completely. And
Perfect. Oh, good.
you know,
Yeah,
you know,
and it worked.
The
And it
general
works.
fix is when it doesn't work, turn it off and turn it back on.
Exactly. Exactly. One thing I'm trying to test, I have my laptop is
It's
not working.
not
Okay.
really working. Yeah.
I'll
I
just
don't
unplug it though.
I don't think it is either. Yeah, it
Let's see.
seems like you're still coming through, but
I don't need to do ASMR. It's fine.
Funny you should say that though. We joke about it all the time.
and
And
I was just about to say, so we're doing a pledge drive.
right.
And as we hit each decile, we're doing a thing. So on Thursday, we were just saying that we're doing Freaky Thursday and we're showing up to do the show as each other. I'm growing out my beard. Lawrence is growing out his long red hair, and we're gonna be each other. But for 90, we were gonna reenact the Sydney Sweeney ads
But
if we
that's
hit
so
90.
over. That was like 2 weeks ago.
But yeah, we feel
Who
like
even
that.
remembers?
So we're
Yeah,
gonna
no,
do.
now you need to reenact the Gap ad.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, did Gap just release one?
Oh, you guys, it's a whole thing.
Uh,
Milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and all the dancers are gorgeous women of color. It's like a little, I don't know that they possibly could have done it in response, but it acts perfectly as a little.
Oh, I'm going to choose to believe that they did it in response because that would be
Exactly.
amazing.
We're pretty
Exactly.
agile these days. Like, if you have to, I think you could move that. It's been a couple weeks, long enough that we're like, God, that was so a few weeks ago. Who remembers that news cycle?
Right, right. It'd have to be Cracker Barrel.
Exactly that.
Right? And so instead, if and when, cross fingers, we hit 90 paid subscribers, because we're at 82, we're going to do an ASMR episode. Like microphones, we're going to tap. Yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
eat
Yeah.
weird things and tap things. And
Yeah.
Crinkle
And you have to
paper.
do that thing where you like show with the hand. Guys, today I'm using a matched. I'm obsessed, guys.
Tapping on your face. Tapping, tapping, tapping.
yes, it's more like, here, let me, where's the camera? Soothe your face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's going to take some practice, but
We're
confession,
also
I love
desperate for
ASMR videos.
connection.
Yeah,
Right,
I
right.
love,
Please,
I love
somebody
that.
on the internet, pretend like I'm special.
Yes, I do love ASMR videos. Lawrence does not, but
Who
he's
is
got the
this?
voice. Who's your friend?
This is Jackie Purples.
Jackie
He
Purple.
he gets very excited when I'm on a call. He feels like he needs to protect me. So
Oh my God, I love him already. Hi,
he's
Jackie.
front and center.
So
Ariel, introduce yourself. Let the people know. I mean, I know there's a big medium crowd in here and lots of people already know, but for those
Yeah.
new to you,
Yeah.
introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I got my career start in the mid 90s as the editor of a rave magazine. Then I became a blogger in 2000. Some of my first blog posts were about the Bush-Gore election. So that sort of, puts you in context for how I got my start. I attended the Columbia Publishing course in the early 2000s, but I couldn't get a magazine job. So I came back to Seattle and did media and tech work like Microsoft, Amazon, Seattle Times.
Jobster.
Did some,
we're going to come back to that one.
some startup time in the trenches, and then got laid off from Microsoft at 8 months pregnant in 2009. And at that point went full time with my publishing company, Offbeat Empire, and have been working on that ever since. And have continued to work on that, but had a little detour in 2023 to work at Medium, first as the director of publisher relations and then as a product manager. And that ended last October. And since then, I've been back to my own little publishing company. Started AI consulting, which is a funny little switcheroo because I was working on anti-AI campaigns. So, neuroplasticity in full effect. We can change our minds. We can learn new things. We can decide we want to do something differently. And this year have been really focused on building out that consultancy. While also, I'm continuing to apply for jobs. Like if I see something interesting, I'll apply for it. But girl's gotten real picky in her 50s, and I don't want to work for a company where I don't believe in a product.
Yeah.
I can't fake it anymore.
Right.
And
that's like the tagline of the 50s. Like, I'm done faking it.
Yeah.
Everything must be authentic and align, or don't even talk to me.
It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. That is a young woman's game.
Yeah. Yeah. From jobs to like dudes, I'm just like, come on, man. No, just either show up as real or get the fuck out of here. I'm not even interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's hold on a second.
So you've done a thing or two, Ariel. You've had a little bit of experience over the course of these years in tech, in content, in pretty much everything, and super appropriate for our show because these are all the things that we love to talk about.
Yeah.
Tell me about Tell us about the this current venture that you're on. Well, actually, I know Dana had a run of show all planned, and I'm screwing it all up. Did you want to talk about Medium first
you're
or
in
AI
the right
first, Dana?
direction. I just wanted to give a little context that the three of us worked together in drum roll, please.
2005, 2006.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
We worked for a little startup called Jobster. The resume is dead, inch by inch.
Right.
Just to throw some taglines out at you.
Right. Great people know great people, which is true.
Which is true.
Yeah.
And interestingly, one of the it was supposed to kill the resume, kill LinkedIn, blah, blah, blah. The founder, can I just say this? Like, there was a Nimrod.
Yeah, what is he going to do? Sue us?
Right. What a dope. Blew $50 million in like 9 months. I think I was there for 9 months.
Oh, way more than $50 million. Like, Jobster had like $250 million invested in it all told. It was an enormous amount of money to blow through.
Yeah. The founder of this startup had he had experience. He'd gone to Harvard, right? And then he'd spent time in the Clinton administration. And so he had this sort of pedigree that people just really loved. He was a total charmer. Total charmer. And basically went through a series of startups, progressively moved east. Started in Seattle, blew $200 million on one startup, moved to New York, started Fab.com. For anybody who remembers Fab.com, pivoted a million times. It was a gay social network. Then it was a furniture company.
Right. Right?
Yeah. That imploded. Then he moved to Europe.
Yep.
And started doing crypto
and
oh my God,
blockchain stuff.
Yeah. So I think it's inevitable that at a certain point he'll end up in Russia, blowing through. Like, he's just really skilled at convincing people to give him money and blowing it, which, more power to him. But
right. What a life, I suppose.
What a life. My favorite job story that I will share. So Lawrence was technically my boss at Jobster. And there was a moment we all had like open seating. It was very like Seattle Pioneer Square, old button factory or something, high ceiling, big windows. We really it really felt like we were living the .com startup dream for sure.
We were.
Creaky old elevator that would go up. So we're all sitting in our little open floor plan. I didn't have much conversation with the CEO. We didn't work together very closely. It wasn't really we didn't really have a relationship. And there was a certain point where he came out of his office and comes up and is like, "How's it going over here?" And I'm like, "Oh, click, click, click. Just fine. And then for some reason, he puts me in a headlock. What? Comes up kind of like next to me and like puts me in a little headlock and like little like noogie and is like, "Oh, you're doing great." And Lawrence is sitting across from me, just like what? Keep in mind, what was I, 30 years old? So I'm this young-ish woman.
I don't know. I feel like we were all 16 at that point.
Right. I'm this young woman with this male CEO. Now, he was gay, and we all knew he was gay, so it wasn't like a sexual harassment thing.
He was gayer than me, which is saying something.
Right. There's no world in which it's really appropriate to put an employee in a headlock. Right. And Lawrence actually sent me... Didn't you send me like an email later being like, or maybe we talked in person. You were like, "I am so sorry as your manager for not stepping in that moment and being like, excuse me, why are you manhandling one of the content creators here. Like, what are you doing, sir?
Right.
There was no HR to report it to. You know what I mean? Like, what was I going to do? Like, we were all
Right.
just flying by the seat of our pants. But
Oh my God, that must have been
good time.
before I joined, because I feel like I would have
I think so,
observed.
Dana. I think we were in the new building by the time you joined.
No,
Ariel and I were, and
I
Ariel,
was at
I
the
don't
tail
remember.
end
Did
of the
I
pipe.
interview you and hire you, or did Jess Schreibach?
Jen Steinbach hired me thanks to you. Like, you were the connection. And
Yeah.
I was in the Pioneer Square building for a bit, the
Okay.
Butnick building, right? It was called
Yeah.
the Butnick. That elevator terrified me. I would not get in that thing because it broke too many times. I have a fear of getting in elevators. But my biggest creepy Jason Goldberg memory is not a headlock, but that it was a dog-friendly office, which it was the first place I ever worked that allowed dogs, which was great. But sometimes there were too many dogs, and his dog would just crap everywhere, and he wouldn't clean up. You'd have to clean up after his dog. I remember, like, I do remember it was like a
Somehow
cockapoo
I
or
blocked that
something.
out.
Yeah. Do you remember this, Ariel? I just remember one incident of, like, ew, in our
I,
section. You
No.
guys were in a
I
different
just want to
section.
say for the record, though, that like being Ariel's manager was basically like, okay, well, you're smarter than me and 100 times more energetic. So how about go that direction? Do whatever you want. If anything gets in your way, call me for help. And go be
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah. I've gotten in my middle-age hobbies. One of my middle-age hobbies now is contact improv, which is a form of like ecstatic dance, hippie, woo-woo stuff. And I went to a retreat at Brighton Bush where I was dancing with all the hippies. And I was dancing with this one guy, and he said, "Well, it's so great how you can just lead yourself." Because I realized, like, I was dancing with him, but basically I was like, "I'll just hold your hand while like, I was like, is this topping from the bottom? I guess this is just,
Yeah, that's
I can't help
exactly
it.
what it is. It's
Sorry.
stopping from the bottom.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
Sorry,
are you
Flash, you're
supposed to be
welcome.
leading? That's nice. That good luck.
hilarious.
Yeah.
What I will say to close out on Jobster is he may have been a complete idiot, our leader at the top, but somehow managed to hire
Oh my
the
God,
Oh,
the
greatest
best
group
group of people.
of people, and we are all still connected. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I saw Yella 2 days ago. Like, I ran into Rachel a few weeks ago. Like, we all are still friends, and we all help one another professionally wherever we can,
Yeah.
which is part of our Medium origin story. Which I'm not going to dive too far into, other than to say, uh, when I first started on Medium, I was like, "Oh, Ariel works here," and uh, that kind of led to the evolution of Three Imaginary Girls moving there, and then the launch of Pink Hair and Pronouns. I will say you two share a distinction, which is um, I don't think of myself as someone who names things like that. It's not my job to do naming, branding, but when I come up with them on the fly, they're always the best ones. And with each of you on a call like this, Pink Hair and Pronouns was born with you, Ariel. That I was like, I want to launch something about parenting, like the Pink Hair and Pronouns kids. And we looked at each other and we were both like, that
Ding, ding,
is the
ding, ding,
name.
ding, ding, ding.
And
Totally.
Lawrence, same with, we want to grow on Substack. We have these great conversations. We need to launch a daily like the daily whatever. Ship it.
Ding, 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 ding.
And I think that's like the only 2 times I've done that on the fly. And here we are. So you two are good. We are good creative co-conspirators. I have so many thoughts and questions about Medium, and I know a lot of our audience will. I think we should save that for the end of the episode. And if there are folks in the live who have questions or want to know some tea, post them in the chat, and I will try to keep track over here, and we'll ask those at the end, because that is your past. And we always talk about how Gen X folks are multi-hyphenate, how we pivot, and we keep learning to stay relevant and like alive, right, in the workforce. But you did such a professional 180, because Medium's whole thing up until Tony posted this article, like, what, a week ago, 3 days ago. Medium's whole thing has been about AI bad, 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 with just cause, because they were being overrun with AI drivel. you exit Medium, we'll just say, and do your own exploration of AI, and you have emerged very quickly as an expert, as a consultant in the AI, in a very particular and interesting niche of AI.
Yeah.
So first I want to say bravo to you for just
Thank
being
you.
like, what, was that hard? I just
Right.
did
Yeah,
my
that's a great
thing.
question. Yeah, it was humbling, right? Like it's humbling to say in public I was doing a thing and now I've changed my mind. And we love when we can make a decision and stick with a decision, right? Especially as someone like the Offbeat Empire brand has had a thesis and a logic to it for almost 20 years, right? Like I picked a lane and things came and went within that lane, but it's been like, it is what it is. Tolerance and inclusivity nonstop since, it launched in 2007. And so to have a moment in my career when I'm like, I wasn't faking it at Medium. I was super committed to what I was doing. And then have the opportunity to, I think the core of what I realized with AI was my initial explorations with ChatGPT specifically were doing what I think a lot of us did, which is go into it and say, can you write? Like, try writing a thing. And it can, and it's not good. And so my initial experiments with it were, oh, this is terrible. It produces slop and it's not great. So I don't want to do this. And it made perfect sense. And at Medium, you could see the slop all over the platform and say,
God.
this is terrible.
As a publisher and a Boost nominator, it was awful. Like at the
It was
comments,
not good.
wherever
It's not good. Yeah. So what I then, after my departure from Medium, and I was like, okay, well, just as someone who's now in the workforce, let me try and figure out what I can, like, what's the landscape? And I realized that the issue with using large language models to support writing was user error. That basically, if you don't train it, it sounds like slop. If you take the time as an operator to train it, it's actually a really useful tool. So some of that was that the tool itself had evolved a bit. But part of it was that I came to understand how to work with it in a way that my opinion now is bad AI writing isn't the fault of AI, it's the fault of the operator. And if I can tell something you wrote was written by AI, I'm not going to judge you for using AI. I'm going to judge you for using AI poorly. I'm going to judge you for not taking the time to create a style guide, to have your own voice that you can then train AI to understand, name it, analyze it, and then use it to help you with outlining future work. So I came to realize, the problem isn't AI, it's the way we're using AI. And that if you use AI differently, it's actually a tremendously powerful tool, not just for productivity and work stuff, but also for self-awareness. Like I use it as a blind spot cognitive bias assistant frequently. And it's really great at that. So it was again very humbling, I think, to have to like stand up, on LinkedIn and be like, hey, so teams. And if you want to talk to me about that, let me know.
No, the way you wrote it was, it didn't even come across as humbling. To me, it came across as strategic and smart because there's no questioning whether we like it or not, that this is the path forward. I mean, where I work,
Right.
which is a big company, every single person, every manager is challenging every person, like, you have to be using AI to do blah, blah, blah this year. Like, all of the goals are around AI. And we're all fully aware that it's so that they can get rid of lots of our jobs, which is also a bit alarming. It's also really clear to me that most of these leaders, oh, I shouldn't say this on this thing, but let's just say I think a lot of leaders who are challenging people to do it don't know what to do or how to do it. They are simply stating
Right.
Yep.
you have to do it without any real clear direction other than like, oh, large language model. So it's refreshing to hear a bit of specifics. And um, I don't want to make you do your work for free here, but I would love to hear anything you're willing to share about, well, kind of specific ways in which you've learned to use it. Because
Yeah.
I've read, from reading you on social media, you have written some um, very funny anecdotes of how
Yeah.
you kind of
Yeah.
trained it to be your gay best friend.
Totally.
Your
Totally. Totally. So
Yeah.
I was actually just in Texas doing a presentation for a national conference of credit union marketers, which was a very interesting
Ah,
demographic that I'm not used to talking to. So part of this was having case studies for them to be like, here's ways to use AI for more compassionate communications. So I'll share super quickly my 3 case studies from that presentation because they're all fresh in my brain. Number 1, I use it to help me translate between worldviews. So of course it can be used to translate, from English to German, but I used it to help me translate from Gen X to Boomer.
really?
I'm a big Enneagram fan. If anyone else is familiar with the Enneagram, it's a typology system, kind of like Myers-Briggs. And I was in a conflict with a consulting client who also happens to be my mother. Which you can imagine, there's no more difficult client to work with than your mother.
Yeah.
And she kept saying things that I was like, God, I know she's not trying to be problematic and difficult, but I am not like, I do not get it. What she's saying is not only nonsensical, but it's actively insulting. And I went to AI, dumped just like verbal diarrhea, the situation, and then said, this client is a 1 wing 2 Enneagram, boomer, lesbian, hippie, who does work for nonprofit spiritual endeavors. Translate what she's saying into my language as an Enneagram 3 wing 4 entrepreneur, media-minded, urban Gen Xer. I'm having trouble understanding, like speak it in my language. And it translated what she was saying into language and concepts that I understood. And then I was able to go back to my difficult client, AKA my mother, and say, wait, is this what you're trying to say? I'm having trouble understanding. Is this what you're trying to say? And she was like, yeah, exactly. You finally get it. And it was a significant breakthrough, both in terms of the consulting work that we were doing on this grief mentoring program that she's trying to operationalize so she can retire. And also just in our personal relationship. I was like, okay, like I'm understanding my mother in ways she's never been able to explain herself to me. Now, to be clear, I confirmed what AI had suggested actually with her, right? We know this. AI is a loving, enthusiastic intern. It's sometimes wrong.
Oh my God.
Right. Yeah.
Very wrong.
Hold on. I'm getting that as a quote. AI is a loving,
enthusiastic intern. It's going to tell you whatever it thinks it wants you want to hear.
Yeah.
I took what
AI loves my work so much. I'm such
much.
an insightful writer.
So
It's
much.
such an
Do you
important
want me to
essay.
format that into a table for you?
Yeah. No,
I don't.
it's so loving and helpful. But so, I did confirm with the actual real life human who I was speaking to, hey, am I understanding you correctly that you're feeling this way and trying to express that? And she was like, oh my God, you finally see me. And I was like, shit, well, thanks.
Robot did.
AI, yeah. So that's one use case, is using it to translate between worldviews, right? And I love the Enneagram because it gets into motivations instead of behaviors, but you can use whatever generations, whatever identities someone has chosen for themselves. I wouldn't get into labeling people with labels that they don't use for themselves. It can be really useful. That's first use case scenario, is translating between worldviews. Second use case scenario is auditing for inclusivity. I do a lot of consulting with small businesses in an extremely emotional, relational industry, which is, of course, weddings, where if you use the wrong language, not only are you maybe gonna not bring a client in, but you might actively insult them. So, classic example, if they go to your website to book your services and it says bride's name here, groom's name here, and they are two women getting married, or there's two grooms, or they're non-binary and they don't want to use those titles, you've just offended their identities. So I do a lot of work with these small business owners about using AI to audit their web copy to be actively inclusive towards the demographics that they want to be welcoming towards. And it can shift language from not just accidentally exclusive, right? Oops, I totally insulted my LGBTQ clients by assuming everyone's heterosexual, to make it actively welcoming, right? Like I'm not just going to say partner one, partner two, but I'm going to have a field for pronouns. I'm going to have a field for, do you identify as neurospicy, right? Like you can shift language from not just offensive and neutral to actively welcoming. So it can be really useful. Even say like, read this newsletter I'm about to send out and pretend you are a English as a second language speaker. Is this newsletter accessible to folks who are non-native English speakers? And it can role play, right? We know this. It can role play as anybody and read your whatever you've written and say, oh, if I was a disabled veteran, I would actually find this description of your services not welcoming. So it's really powerful that's the second case study, is it's really powerful for inclusivity in your language.
So the woke agenda is what you're telling me.
I'm totally saying, well, no, because the market you could be reaching is MAGA. You could be like, right, hey, I just wrote this deep conspiracy essay about Christian nationalism, homeschooling, and the gender binary. I need to make sure that MAGA voters relate to this, right? It could be whatever market you want to make sure you're being inclusive towards.
You blow AI's mind. It's like, can't do.
I would guess it could. I've never tested that. I probably should. But I think basically you can role play as my hateful racist grandma.
Right.
And tell me if this essay pisses you off or makes you feel excited, right? Like it's, Polly, it's like a social and psychological cultural Swiss Army knife. Exactly that. So you can use it to gain access and empathy and language connection with anybody. And that can be, woke, marginalized communities, or that can be, Filipino nationalist, gun-toting, like whatever, like pick your community, it'll give it a shot. So, what was the third example? Oh my gosh. I'm forgetting. Maybe that's enough.
Sorry to make you think it's 7:30 in the morning.
I know. I'm like,
right.
just
The two of you are amazing for being up this early. So Joe kind of has a point in the chat, regarding the whole AI data center power consumption issue, right? I know that like you're a very environmentally aware and conscious person that's like programmed into your DNA. How are you thinking about it? What are you doing to kind of not rationalize, but kind of come to terms with the fact that, there's a negative here?
Yeah. I saw that Google just released a report last week about, and that's specifically Gemini, that Gemini's energy use is actually much lower than folks were talking about. And that it's like each query is the equivalent of watching 9 seconds of a streaming movie. So I think, we all need to be aware of our footprints, of our environmental footprints. And I feel like there are much more productive ways to manage your environmental footprint. And that's a decision that each of us gets to make. But I don't, uh, are we limiting, was this a conversation around streaming? Are we limiting our Netflix?
Right.
Like those of us who put on a YouTube, dreamy jazz cafe, rainy afternoon for 8 hours in the living room because it's a nice ambiance. Are we talking about, like, does that conversation come up in that context?
Sure.
I'm not saying that conversation shouldn't come out about AI, because it should. And if we're going to have the conversation about how we use, digital resources with AI, then we should be having that conversation about how we use it with Netflix, how we use it with podcasts, right? Like, if we're concerned about it, we should be concerned about it everywhere. But the fact that, right, exactly. The fact that it shows up so much around AI, to me, again, I get into like the psychology and the motivation of it. I'm like, it's real. I'm not mitigating the fact that it's real, but the fact that that fear comes up so much more around AI than it does around other forms of digital media use, I think suggests more cultural fear. And that fear is totally legitimate.
Yeah.
That fear is legitimate and real and should be listened to. And I'm just not sure that obsessing about drops of water with AI is the most productive use of that fear.
Fair. We have a couple really good questions in the chat.
We do. And Dana, I just want to point out, we've got 20 minutes left with Ariel, which doesn't seem like enough time. And I know you wanted to talk about Medium. So
I do. Let's ask these two questions, and then we're going to pivot to talk about Medium and all the good tea there. Mason asks, my 40-year-old son thinks I'm stupid to pay for ChatGPT. He says the free is as good as is. What say you, Ariel?
No, I pay for the $20 a month version for sure. The memory functions and the project functions are absolutely, especially as I'm using it professionally, it's 100% worth it to me. When I first signed up for it a year ago, I would put a little reminder on my calendar every month, 2 days before it was going to renew, to be like, am I still using this? Is this still worth the $20? And in the first month, I saved $100 plus using it for budgeting. In the second month, I saved $500 using it with budgeting and like consumer psychology stuff. I was like reducing my spending. Obviously, I'd been laid off from my job. And it very quick, and of course, then I started using it for consulting, and I was like, oh, this $20 is making itself back
in space.
In 5
multiple
digits.
exponentially.
Yeah. Like I was like, oh, it's 100% worth it. For me, I do have sort of, I don't love OpenAI and I don't love ChatGPT. Like
Which one do you pay for?
I pay for ChatGPT. I don't love, I think the company's run by a pathological liar. I don't think it's a great organization. But the tool works for me for now. So yeah, okay. That's my answer.
And then the second question is from Karen. Can AI give a legit tarot card reading?
Yes. Yeah. And part of what's really cool is if you use it, if you use it in the way that I do, where I'm like barfing out personal issues and being like, help me see my blind spots. It knows a lot about me. And when I do my daily tarot card pull, I'll say, based on everything you know about me, what does this card have to teach me today? And it then caters the card to my, it'll be like, oh, well, I know that you're working on some issues around control and surrender. And when the 3 of Pentacles comes up, it's offering you a lesson about do. So I'll do like a little brain dump in the morning, like, oh, it's a beautiful morning in Seattle. I have a podcast I'm doing this morning, but this afternoon, I'm going to go out on the paddleboard. I'm really excited about that. Based on everything I've told you this morning and everything you know about me across our other conversations, what does this card have to offer me today? What are the lessons for the day? It's great. because it's catered to me. I love that.
Oh my
I will
God.
say I have so I pay for ChatGPT as well. I've been using it for ages now. I also went through the process of training it to kind of know me and my voice. And I love astrology, right? And so I, on several occasions, have shown it a chart and been like, hey, what's your interpretation of this chart? I have found even the paid version of ChatGPT to hallucinate more with
Yes.
astrology charts than
Yes.
anything else.
Yes.
Up to the point of saying like, oh, well, Jupiter's in eighth in the Scorpio. And I'm like, no, it literally
No, it's
isn't.
not. Yeah. No, I have a dear friend here in Seattle who's half of, sorry, I'm shifting out of the sunlight here. I have a dear friend in Seattle who's half of the Astro Twins. They're a
Yeah, I know her.
long established pair of astrologers. And she's like, yeah, really struggles with like the math and science of astrology. It
Yep.
just, and then it starts making up things that it thinks you want to hear.
Right.
Like it's like, oh, well, that Pisces Jupiter. I'm like, what? It's like, oh, sorry. When you call it, it's always like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You're right.
You're like, oh,
It
you're
does
right.
struggle.
I got all of the placements wrong. It's like,
It struggles with astrology for sure.
yeah.
That's so interesting. I've never tried it for astrology. I've had some very funny experiences with AI, one of which I still need to write up about the time Facebook's dating AI tried to lure me to a club to meet a person who didn't exist, which for another day.
Oh my God.
Or
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But
it's a
Ariel,
whole,
you have to hear that at some point. Dana was texting me as it was happening, and I was like, girl, run. Like, this is not
Yeah.
what's happening. Don't do that.
Bad news bears. Bad
It was-
chicken, as a friend of mine said. Bad chicken.
right. I was like, are you acting as programmed, or have you like jumped the walls? It was like, no, this is a real person. You really need to meet him. You need to go to the Crocodile at 7:00 to go to this show. And I was like, they're not playing at the Crocodile. Oh, but they are. It's a secret show.
Ew.
It went on and on and on.
It was creepy. It was Facebook dating, by the way. So, whatever
Grain
Facebook
of
is
salt.
working on in terms of AI, clearly different from other AI.
Yeah, it was wild. But that's a topic for another day. I have.
You got to talk
haven't.
about Medium.
Let's start talking about Medium.
And
This is a
Mason
good
says,
share.
can we have Ariel come back again soon? I think we all want you to return to the show.
Yeah,
soon.
no, I'm always. I wish it wasn't 7 a.m., but I never miss a chance
We'll
to
do a
get dressed up
Saturday,
and talk.
maybe.
Yeah.
We're 9 a.m. Pacific on Saturdays.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yes, I was like, I'm not getting up at 7 a.m. for Saturday show. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Even 9 a.m. is tricky. Well, this feels like the natural shift to Medium. Well, no, actually, I don't want to talk about Tony's article on AI, though we could. I want to go further back. I'm not sure how much you're willing to talk about this on a live, because my first question is, what happened?
What happened?
Yeah.
The easy answer to what happened is that Medium had three. The way the org, the engineering org, and the product team was organized, there were three different teams. I was on the publishing team, and we had a principal product manager, which was Buster, myself as like a junior product manager, since I'd never been a product manager before, and then an engineering manager, and then a team of engineers dedicated and two designers. And then there was the publishing team, the members team, and oh my gosh. Anyway, I can't remember. There were three teams.
You've already
And I know, I'm like, ancient history 2 years ago. And basically what happened is they decided to fold the publishing team into one of the other teams. And as part of that move, also eliminated the three roles, the engineering manager, the principal product manager, and my role. So the team was reorganized, and the three of us, who I guess were sort of leading the team because the team was shuffled, were let go. And then 6 months later, they eliminated the product org. So now there are the few product managers that were left after our departure last fall were let go in February. So Medium at this point no longer has product managers at all. So even if our team hadn't been reorged, ultimately all the product manager, there's no product manager at Medium anymore. So that is a strategic decision. You know what I mean? Like, and they're not the only company to decide. I think Airbnb got rid of
Really?
their product team as well. I want to say Airbnb. So there is sort of like a separate from Medium shenanigans. There is sort of like a tech industry. Do we need a product org? Sorry, the dog was freaking out. Do we need a product org? Do we need product managers? It was very interesting for me as someone who'd never been a product manager, trying to learn what was going on and being like, this seems dysfunctional and weird, but maybe it's just because I don't know how to be a product manager. And then when the team got reorged and then the whole product org got eliminated, I was like, oh, it wasn't just me. Okay, got it. It wasn't working.
Is that the craziest one when you're like, is it me or do I just not know how to do this job? Me every day. Robin is asking, they did a reorg and fired people overnight for it? Question mark. I don't know if it was
Yeah. I will say Buster knew the reorg was coming. I think many of you know this, that Buster recruited me to Medium. We've been colleagues for 20 plus years. And so he was in close conversation with Tony, knew the reorg was coming, knew that he was going to be leaving. And then the way he phrased it to me was like he was desperately trying to make sure that other jobs wouldn't be eliminated and did not succeed. So he knew it was coming. The rest of us did not. I could feel that something was happening. Hold on. My son just peeked in. Hey, Tavi, you need me? No, he said, okay.
I love lives. I love that we can
just life happening.
Okay. I remember when you were pregnant, I think, right? I think I remember that. How old is your child now?
He is about to turn 16.
Oh my gosh. Time is a thing.
Just a few months older than Nico is.
Yeah. Time is a thing.
We had a hard time naming our second, and I don't want to out your child's full name, actually, so I'm not going to tell that story.
Okay.
Your privacy, internet.
Yeah.
Medium.
So anyway, the moral of this story is I feel like I am the member of a very elite club because Medium in its, whatever it is now, 14 years of history, has laid off and let go some extremely prestigious people. I mean, the people I worked with at Medium were phenomenal. I worked with people who'd been deputy editors at Vogue. Like, you know what I mean? Like the caliber of people who have worked at Medium and been let go from Medium. It is a company with a very high turnover rate because it's pivoted a lot. And of course, now they're really trying to be profitable. And that comes with a lot of, revenue constriction. I consider it, a great honor that I get to be part of this club of very prestigious people who have worked at Medium and don't currently work at Medium.
Oh my gosh. You, during your tenure there, my understanding is that you conceived the Boost program.
I did not. Okay. I was hired. The Boost program was Buster and Tony conceived of it. Okay. And then Buster was immediately like, I do not. He's like, I just want to be doing the product side of this stuff. I do not want to be in the trenches talking with these people.
But the actual product you worked on was the Boost product.
Yeah. So I was brought in when the program was 6 people. And they were like, here's what we think it is. There's no systems. There's no scaling. There's no communication. There's no community. Right. Just make it work. So I didn't invent it, but it was my job to usher it through. And I will say that the most valuable feedback I got in terms of critique of my work at Medium was that I was over-identified with the program. I got some feedback that like, this isn't you. And I was like, oh shit, as an entrepreneur, where my programs are me.
Right.
That was a very legitimate, like, I was like, oh, right. I'm really personalizing as the publisher myself.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little over identified with this program as like an expression of me, which I really appreciated that feedback actually, because it was not easy to take, but it was actually very legitimate for someone who has a history of workaholism and getting over enmeshed, to use codependency language, over enmeshed with my work. I was like, oh shit, I'm doing it again. Sorry.
You know, I don't know that it was a bad thing. Like, I can't speak for all of the nommers. I'm certain that's Ariel language that you called the Boost nominators nommers. You coined us.
Yeah.
Like, you were the best part of a program that brought a lot of joy. Like, for those who aren't familiar with this program, which still exists, put a pin in that. We're going to come back to the fact that it still exists. Can you do a quick overview of what the Boost program is at Medium, or what it was and
Yeah.
what it became?
Yeah. So the idea was to use the publishers who are already active, the independent publishers who are already active on Medium, to help Medium's internal curation team find and amplify quality content. So Medium's independent publishers had never been financially compensated. And so the idea was to give them a little monthly stipend. It was never more than $900 a month, but that's like something which Medium had never compensated indie publishers before. So it gave it gave indie publishers on Medium something for their time, and also helped provide Medium's internal curation team with a steady flow of high quality stories to consider for boosting, which is basically amplification in distribution on the platform. It was a really cool idea, and I love that they're still doing it, despite the changes that have happened in the last year.
Right. And a theory many of us have, and I don't know if you can answer this because you were already out by this point. It really feels like a big part of the shift happened around the time of the election. And at least, as someone who runs a publication over there about parenting gender nonconforming kids, things that had previously been boosted in that space, not anymore. And I think I think there's at least a couple nominators in the chat. So weigh in if you disagree, but it seems like anything controversial or political no longer gets boosted. They never boosted like outright political content, firebrand stuff that you see a lot of on Substack. But was that, like, behind the scenes, was that part of the ethos to not boost politically charged content? And to your knowledge, did it start increasing that was right around when you left?
Yeah, I can say that no, that was never part of the ethos at all. And knowing the curation manager personally, that's certainly not her worldview. I would say, based on what I know about what happened at Medium last fall, it was unrelated to the election and more related to organizational changes and prioritization around profitability.
Yes, it seems like now the stories they're elevating are all about AI and coding shit.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that while, and I almost wondered if this was my bias showing when I was building out the Boost nomination program as a lifestyle publication editor myself. I definitely was very interested in bringing on lifestyle publishers. The reality is that by a large magnitude, the content on Medium that is the most heavily read is technical.
Yeah.
And so while the human interest stories and the lifestyle stories are what was always interesting to me, the reality of the traffic is that the tech stories are kind of the backbone of the revenue stream of views in, from SEO, from so I know that this was often a discussion with the nominators. Oh yeah, absolutely. Tony would love for it to be a place for academic publishing. That's been a campaign, like a dream, and something that's been ideated on for many years. The stuff around STEM is just the reality of where the bulk of the traffic comes from. And so there's kind of this friction between like the human interest stories that many writers on Medium like writing, and then the technical content that is the bulk of what readers come to Medium looking for. So, but I would say it's really unrelated to the election. I mean, that was after I departed in early October. So, I can't speak to the specifics of it, but based on what I saw, it was never political. The timing is more tied to org restructures than any sort of politics, I would say. Org restructures and revenue concerns.
Wow.
Interesting. Kevin, I know we're at time.
Yeah. We have to leave time for our question, the big question, Ariel, that we always ask. In your opinion, what is the ultimate Gen X song?
Mazzy Star, Fade Into You?
Ooh, I like that choice. Okay.
Or maybe Portishead? Maybe something Portisheady? It might be Portishead. I can't think of a specific Portishead song, but the like heroin chic, I was literally introduced to Portishead by a recovering junkie. So like that 90s vibe of, I mean, I was a raver. So I was, if it was up to me, I would say Chemical Brothers or Fatboy Slim.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
We
I
love
think
these
those are-
perspectives.
Those are fair choices. Yeah.
But I think to be a little bit more larger view, I would say either that or Flagpole Sitta.
That's really good one. And that is a young Gen X. Those are young Gen X picks because you're a little younger than we are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because these are all 90s songs and fabulous ones.
Yeah. I love that at 50 I'm younger.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Hang out
You're
with
a later-
55-year-olds and suddenly you're the young kid in the room. Those are great choices. And I know music is incredibly important to you. So awesome to get your perspective.
I've noticed that Mazzy Star, Fade Into You, like it's a Gen Z favorite. Have you noticed this too? There must be TikToks around it or something because my kids love that song. And I'm like, how do you know Mazzy Star? And they're kind of like, how do you know Mazzy Star?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm embarrassed to say, I think JD Vance recently referenced that song. And I'm like, oh no, you're poisoning this classic.
No.
Ew.
The chat is saying Smells Like Teen Spirit. Yes, that is always probably half the people we ask come back with Smells Like Teen Spirit, which fair. But Mazzy Star and Portishead, I love it. That's the kind of dreamy, she wasn't shoegaze, but did the like this girl, the like
Yeah.
I'm beautiful, don't look at me.
I do not wish to be perceived. Next time we talk, I can tell you all about how my theory on grunge is that it was a bunch of young men not knowing how to process their grief. And that's why instead of like when Andy Wood died, like basically we had all these grief-stricken 22-year-olds who then were thrust in the spotlight as rock stars and had no idea what to do with their grief. And so they're all like, I don't know. Like, they wasn't like, a rock star. They were like, I'm a fucking rock star. I'm convinced grunge is just an expression of young male confused grief. So we can talk about
there
it.
you go. Book it. Yeah. That's our next show with Ariel.
Let's talk about it.
I love that theory. And it's the heroin addiction that came with so much of it, the early deaths. It all, if they'd gone to therapy, there would be no grunge. This was their therapy.
Dude, it's in the same way that once I recognized and treated my anxiety, I stopped being able to be an effective marketer because I realized it was just like chasing attention and goosing my own anxiety. And once I healed it, I was like, oh no, now I hate that job. Shit. It's not fun anymore. Once I was like, oh no, it's my inner child desperately seeking validation. Well, can't unsee that. Too bad. Did too much therapy. Lost my marketing career. Whoopsie.
Ariel, I have missed you all these years. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us. This has been absolutely incredible. You are so
pleasure.
Fun.
Oh, you're the best. We're definitely getting you back on. Definitely doing the grunge as grief healing episode. I love
music
that.
episode with
or a grief episode. You guys, grief is trending. Grief is trending. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Does
It'll
the
be
one that says,
music, grief, and using AI to help process your grief so that you can make happy music.
Yeah. Oh, and if anyone wants to learn more about what I'm doing with AI, offbeatempire.com
Oh
is
yeah,
where.
did we put links in?
I put the link in the chat at the start, but hang on, let me oh, here we go. Let me go grab it one more time so that you can all check this out. I did see that you have got some merch, some like downloadable resources, and I am
There
going to go
is,
get.
yeah,
I feel like I need a little bit of a boost in that
Yep.
space, so I'm going to go download it and go learn.
Yep, there's totally a free downloadable about that shares my framework for how to train AI to sound like you, not like slop.
Nice.
Amazing. We'll
Yep.
put all of this in the recap, all the links, this link, and we'll link to you on Beehive because you are not on Substack. Another question I wanted to ask and didn't get to of why I picked a future episode. The link is in there, 1 Minute Daily Boost. Do you see it? Here, I'll put it in one more time. Yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Ariel,
Thank you so
love
much.
you. Thank you so much. Love you,
My
mean
pleasure,
it,
you guys.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Good to see y'all.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.